It's an opinion, and it's mine. And I have freedom to speech and the right to defend myself and to conduct my civic duty.
Do you think it's the right thing to do to say that you're going to make her life a nightmare?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Do you think it's fair to say you're going to smash her?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Do you think it's right to lie about having 10 years of criminal justice experience?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
I may be done. Let's take a break.
Sure.
Oh, there are a couple others that may be done. Was there a time when you were disrupting the City of Cudahy Council meeting and Sergeant Beers had to go and talk to you?
Never.
Didn't Sergeant Beers have to talk to you because Christian Hernandez was complaining about you, harassing him?
That's completely false.
Hold on, before you answer, we want to be clear, because none of it will come in if you then say something and then start taking the Fifth Amendment. You can't just use a little of it.
Well, I'm not just going to say what you want me to say. I'm going to elaborate on it. If not, I'm just going to plead the Fifth.
Ask you questions.
Okay, well, I'm just
did
letting you know.
Sergeant Beers, or did she not, ever have to talk to you at the request of Christian Hernandez?
Not at the request of him. I went to her, for the record.
Did that have anything whatsoever to do with Christian Hernandez?
I plead the Fifth Amendment. This is irrelevant to the case. This is irrelevant to what the...
Isn't it true that Sergeant Beers... Let's go to Sergeant Beers.
I'm not going to talk about anything that's not relevant to the case.
It's all right. We have plenty of people to talk about it. It's all right if you don't talk. It just means your side won't be told. That's all right. We'll just get the truth and we won't get your side. Which is fine. It'll shorten everything. This is what Sergeant Beers said. You've talked to her. Do you have any reason to believe that she would give a false statement in this proceeding?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
That's right. This is what she says on page 2, paragraph 4. Sometime in 2017, Cudahy City Councilwoman Christian Hernandez approached me, City Councilman, I'm sorry. Christian Hernandez approached me and informed me that Ms. Ponce was verbally harassing him.
That's not true. I approached her.
Hearsay.
There's no question pending. I haven't even asked a question. I just read a statement from a declaration.
You're just testifying.
Well, I'm letting you know.
Hearsay is permissible in these kind of proceedings.
That's false. She didn't come to me. I went to her and I told her about it. Then she talked to us.
So now you want to talk?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Keep in mind, you won't be able to say all this. You can't just make statements and then plead the Fifth and not answer questions. The judge is not going to allow you to do that. So
you know what? I'd rather write a book about this with the whole truth.
Confused, and I don't want you to show up in court.
I write a book about this, right?
Now, it says, Councilman, this is now continuing on page 2, line, ma'am, would you please not disrupt the deposition? I mean, it's bad enough that you're taking the Fifth 100 times.
It's my right.
Councilman Hernandez informed me, well, you know, it's to protect people against their criminal activity, self-incrimination. Councilman Hernandez informed me that Ms. Ponce was making ongoing negative statements about him and his girlfriend on social media and that he wanted it to stop. Were you making negative statements about him and his girlfriend on social media?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Why would you do that, man?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Didn't you have your own social life? Why would you try to interfere with Councilman Hernandez's social life?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Okay. And then Sergeant Beer says she told you to stop contacting him. He was feeling harassed, and he asked me to speak to her and ask her. This is what she's saying. You said you approached her. This is what the sergeant says. Sergeant says, thereafter I had a conversation with, well, it says, well, starting with paragraph 4, he says that he talked to her about you verbally harassing him. And then he goes on to say, Councilman Hernandez appeared to be frustrated by the situation. I informed Councilman Hernandez I would speak with Ms. Ponce on his behalf. This is what she says. Thereafter, I had a conversation with Ms. Ponce at one of the Cudahy City Council meetings. And he explained to you that he was feeling harassed. Do you know anything about that?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
I thought so. Okay, let's go on to, we're almost done here. Rounding third base, I'm sure. Mr. Castaneda had things to say about you.
That's funny, because he does a lot of under-the-rug deals. I'm pretty sure.
What does that
Because
have
I
to do
went
with
to the
this?
FBI.
What does that have to do with this, ma'am?
Exactly. What does this have to do about it, right? All of you guys, contractors, politicians, coming up against me, a 25-year-old, right? Power, money.
The victim, right?
Yeah, I am the victim.
Okay.
That's why you're doing this to me, so you won't get caught, and so your wife doesn't get caught either. So what do? Get all the people that don't like me, right?
You're saying these people don't like you? Sergeant Beers doesn't like you? Is that what
I never
you're saying?
said that about Sergeant Beers. You're
Well,
putting
you said all these
words in.
people who don't like you. Would you
I
please
plead the
name,
Fifth Amendment.
Would you please name the people who don't like you?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
All right. Now, this is what Alex Castaneda, do you know that person?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Okay. He's over at the Chamber of Commerce. He was the vice president.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know him
crook,
from
I
Adam.
know.
He gave us a...
Yeah, that's the guy that I told you about, the one that
Is that an
submitted
extra
an alleged
copy?
check, and
Yeah.
how he didn't submit a contract to me or sign the final contract, and that I was being
Thank
told that there was deals being made.
Now, it says, he goes through it and he talks about his background, and he's a vice president over there. And he says,
I went to the FBI.
as I described in more detail below, in my opinion, Ms. Ponce is a very immature, troublesome, and problematic employee. Is that true?
I plead the Fifth Amendment. I'm
Were
not going to
you-
talk to you about something that I spoke to the FBI about and that they told me not to disseminate any information about.
As you said, were you young and stupid when you were the executive director of Southgate Chamber of Commerce?
I plead the Fifth Amendment.
Did you have no emotional intelligence when you were a director?
I plead the Fifth
All
Amendment.
right. It says, this is on paragraph 3.
Did you have any emotional
It says-
intelligence when you cheated on your wife with Lydia Vasquez? And you,
Are you done?
yeah.
All right. Specifically, Ms. Ponce had many misrepresentations and false statements to the public and on social media about the Chamber of Commerce.
Coming
Is that
from
true?
a crooked
Is that true?
contractor, yeah.
So you don't, yeah, the answer is yes?
No, I'm saying, coming
Well,
from
let
a
me ask the
crooked,
question. Let's make it very clean
No.
and clear. This statement says specifically, during the month of April 2016, I and other board members learned that Ms. Ponce had been continuously making false allegations about members of the Southgate Chamber of
They're not false and they're not
Commerce.
misleading. I have all the facts, but like I said, that's all with the FBI. I'm not going to talk about it.
Could you open that door? It's getting too close in here. Thank
So
you
you're
much.
saying that's false?
I
Or
plead
true?
the Fifth
Plead
Amendment.
the
I'm not
Fifth
going to
Amendment.
answer anything that I spoke to the FBI
It
about.
says specifically Ms. Ponce had many misrepresentations and negative false statements to the public. Is that true?
No, everything I said was 100% true.
What did you say? That was 100% true.
I plead the Fifth Amendment. I'm not going to talk about it with you. I already told you that's
So
between
you
the
know when Mr. Castaneda comes to testify,
Good,
you
he can
won't be
testify.
able
Of course
to...
he's going to testify. I went to the FBI about him and about the Chamber Board of Directors.
I'm sure you did. Is that your pattern to file false statements with government officials when you lie on people?
Is it your pattern to sue people and try to intimidate them when they try to catch your wife in her corruption? Is it?
You won't discuss the corruption because there is none.
Yes,
Please
there is.
Well, please say what it is. If there's corruption, please state it now. This is the time.
For
This
what?
is
So then the
place.
district attorneys won't be able to investigate? And for what? For you to be able to cover that up? For me to speak on about it? And then you're going to be like, oh, we need to get rid of this. No, I'm not going to tell you.
I want to be clear. You're not going to tell us about the corruption because if you tell the truth, then that'll stop the district attorney from investigating, right? That's what you're saying? I just want to be clear. The reason
And
you're
from
not... the
catching you and
reason
your wife, yes.
Every other word out of your mouth about Lydia Vasquez is she's a corrupt politician. Yet when we sit here on the oath, on the record,
I'm not going to
when
speak about an
you've been begging
investigation.
and saying people are silencing you,
I'm not going to speak
and
about
now
it.
you can't speak about it because you know you don't have any facts.
I do, but I'm not going to give
one
it to you.
specific fact to back up any of these lies.
Actually, I do.
So I just want to be clear, the reason you're not going to speak on it is if you tell the truth, then the district attorney won't be able to stop her corruption, right? And your answer, ma'am, isn't that why? I've noticed in several of your communications you always say you're being silenced and you want your day in court. This is your day in court.
This isn't court. This is what you want.
This is a court
This is for you to be able to know what's going on so you can continue to defend
proceeding.
your wife.
They can take Letitia's deposition if they want. You can take her deposition.
Why would I take it? She's probably going to lie in the whole thing like she always does with this frivolous court case.
Very well.
Like both of you.
Very well. I have no further questions. Any questions, counsel?
No.
Okay, I guess that's it.
We'll leave that there.
All right, concluded?
Yes.
All right, this concludes today's deposition of Ms. Valeria Ponce. The total number of media used was 2, and we are off the record at 3:22 p.m. on April 26, 2018.